Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. We certainly would love to hear from you. So send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today, our guest again is Mary Stanford. She is a speaker, teacher, and writer on Catholic marriage and family life. And she's the author of a great book, and I really hope you get it. It's called Obedience Paradox, Finding True Freedom in Marriage. And this beautiful book is available at ewtnrc.com. And it's been good for us to read and to learn. I mean, I think that's one of the best things about we get to be involved in this show is we get to learn so much. I mean, it's like we're in school. We're always learning, and it's like, oh my gosh, and such beautiful things. And we get to have people from all over the world come in and share the things that God has laid on their hearts. And boy, oh boy, does the whole world need this book.
Yes, excellent for engaged couples, premarital training, the obedience paradox of obedience and what it means, and the joy of that in your life, and understanding who you truly are as male and female complementarity. So it's an excellent book if you're doing anything with premarital counseling or with married couples. And it's
even if you're single, it's good to know thyself, an understanding of all of us have to be obedient. Right. Otherwise, we're enslaved to something.
And it's beautiful. If you think of obedience the way Mary's unpacking that, it's a true hearing. And when you can truly hear it, then it's not absurd, or it's not covered over by the culture. How often do we say, oh, I hear you now, I get that now. And what she's saying is, I hear the great fulfillment of obedience to my identity with the Lord, with you as a married man and woman, the uniqueness, our same dignity, worth, and value, but how we complement one another. And this is obedience, to live that out, so that the greatest thing you can offer to God is to truly be what you are. And John Paul II said, become who you are. As a man, as a woman, this is who you are. Become what you are. Marriage and family, become who you are. Church, become who you are. And that's about obedience. And when you hear it, and it's not just demanded of you, but you hear it, that it's freedom and it's liberty and it's joy.
And I love what Catherine of Siena said about it. Be who you are, and you will set the world on fire.
Amen.
And the problem is we're all trying to disconnect or deny our own beautiful creation and the way God made us and who we are. I pray that today, if anything, you learn to celebrate who God made you to be, and you know the purpose for your being, and that you would love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength.
Well, Mary Stanford is again here with us, the Obedience Paradox. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest is Mary Stanford. She is a speaker, teacher, and writer on Catholic marriage and family life because she's married and she has a beautiful family.
Amen.
She's also the author of a new book called The Obedience Paradox, Finding True Freedom in Marriage. And maybe your marriage needs a makeover. Maybe it needs a reset. Maybe you're in a place with Jesus where you're stale and Pentecost just didn't set you on fire. This book will help. It can transform and change your life. But guess what? Jesus needs to start with you. So this beautiful book
doesn't need to start with your husband?
No, it's always you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And EWTNRC.com. Well, beautiful Mary, we just loved having our conversation with you yesterday. But tell our family a quick overview about what the book is about, and then we're going to go into the depth of the questions.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me and having me back. My book tackles sort of what, the culture sees as a very sticky, thorny topic, the idea of of obedience, particularly in marriage, but really, in the faith in general. But we take a specific look at headship and obedience between a husband and wife. But ultimately, I think my approach, which is rooted in Scripture, right, is that true headship is a sacrificial giving.
Yeah.
And I think as Catholics, we kind of get the part about self-gift, love is gift. Love isn't just gift. There's no gift without an offering and a reception. And so if a gift is offered, it's not really a complete gift unless it is freely received. And so my book, in a particular way, looks at obedience or submission as the receiving of a gift, as the receiving of something that is offered. And Jim was talking about listening, right? The word obedience comes from the word to hear, but in a sense of to receive a word. And so there's this idea of really exploring and going deeper into this notion of what does it mean to receive a gift? And how are women in particular, in a way, suited or capable? What gifts do they have that might capacitate them and fulfill them through receptivity? And that's what we explore in the book. And what I hope is that it gives husbands and wives concrete ways to improve their marriage, ways for husbands to give better, ways for women to receive better, and to ideally affirm one another in the process.
But that's the crux of the matter. I mean, in marriage, I mean, how many times has it been said, or maybe said, without words, about giving better and receiving better, but it's always about one pointing to the other one.
Yes.
Well, if he would just do this, that, or this is the perfect gift, then I would receive it, but it's never. This is what it's all about. But it does take obedience to the Lord. You have to be doing that with the Lord. It takes trust. It is a sacrifice that we give, and then to receive that sacrifice.
And you mentioned the Lord, because all of this hopefully will help us understand that our foundational receptive relationship for men and women is with the Lord, and that if we are receiving all of the circumstances of our daily life as an expression of receiving a gift from the Lord, it can help us. It can help motivate husbands to be better heads and givers. It can motivate and should motivate women to be better receivers, better in that position, because both of them are actually an expression of obedience to God. But he has, I think, asked us to live this dynamic, which doesn't look identical on both sides, right? We don't look identical on both sides, right? But there is this beautiful dynamic of giving and receiving, which is so fraught. It takes so much trust, and it does mean suffering at times, right? But unless we can actually put that suffering in context of our relationship with God, it could become unendurable at times.
Right,
So,
or it becomes I win, you lose, you win, I lose. But if it's coming from God, it's got a whole nother end game.
yes,
It's like, Lord, I'm doing this because I love you.
yes.
And not because he understands me, or I don't understand him. I didn't hear him, he didn't hear me. Lord, I give this conversation, I give this past where we are. We can't get past this. We're in a stuck place. God help us.
Yes.
But it has to come from that foundation of Jesus, where I'm going to surrender, because guess what? You're going to have to die to yourself, and therein lies the problem. Nobody wants to get over
There's
themselves.
got to be a third person in the
Right.
marriage. And the third person is the primary person.
Right.
There's got to be somebody between us, or this is not going to work out well.
Exactly.
It's Jim, Joy, and Jesus.
It is. I love it. The three J's. But you said, if you're going to be, just looking at it for what do I get out of this and how do I win, that really is connected to this idea of freedom. Because, as I've mentioned, it takes only a free creature can sort of willingly offer something that they don't have to offer, right, to the other. Only a free creature can freely receive that and sort of freely enter into this relationship. Only spiritual free beings can do this whole thing, right? Because again, obedience is often pitted against freedom. But in reality, if we don't freely open ourselves to these relationships, if we try to avoid this whole dynamic, if we try to avoid obedience, we're not more free. As a matter of fact, we're less free, because chances are what's inhibiting us from giving and receiving well is our own sin. It's our own slavishness to our bad habits, our selfishness. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's fear from past wounds, but nonetheless, we are certainly not more free because we're avoiding the vulnerability of that relationship with ourselves
And
with
we're
God.
living in a life that is being controlled and thriving with our vices as opposed to our virtues. So there has to always be an exchange. It's like, Lord,
Yes.
I'm going to give my impatience, my unkind words, what I'm not listening. I don't want to hear you right now. Whatever it is.
Yes. It is an opportunity,
right.
right? It is an opportunity for virtue. Frankly, you can't develop virtues without opportunity. And so, truly, am I becoming less free by having to master some of my own vices? No, it's giving me an ability. A true virtue actually increases your capacity, and a vice inhibits, it decreases your capacity and makes you less free.
What are some areas, being a man,
Yeah.
where guys need to be more aware or work on ways that we can give?
Yes,
Or maybe different ways than we always do it.
I can think two are popping to mind.
Okay.
One of them is, and I don't want to underestimate the gift that is material providing for a family, right? Usually that takes up most of husbands' time, right? They're working every day, they're working hard, and we don't always appreciate that as much as we should. But if you only see that your family is a physical reality to be supported with material needs, sometimes it's easy for men to think of them only as a list of physical needs and not tend to their spiritual needs. And I think the greatest spiritual need for a family, for a wife and children, is a father's attentive presence, noticing them, looking at them, listening, yes, challenging them, but also affirming them and simply being there. And again, sometimes men can underestimate the power of their physical presence because it's all about, this is what I did, this is what I did. No, this is who I am.
You think back to Genesis, who was it who named everybody? I mean, it was the man. And then the woman, it's not good for you to be alone, right? You need something else just beside you and these animals here.
Yes.
And so she's created out of him, out of his rib. And I always think of when she was finally came forth, because she came forth, and it must have been like, okay, so who am I? What am I? And he says, you are Isha, you're from me. You're bone of my bone. You're from me.
He immediately
the man
affirms
names.
her. Yes, he names her, but he also says, you are bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He recognizes himself in her and he affirms her. But at the same time, she comes into being, being affirmed and in relationship.
But that's about
That's
giving.
what
You're saying is giving is not only the material things. Giving is giving the gift of that person to themselves and pulling that out and say, you are the feminine, you are this, you're the feminine genius, as John Paul says, and kissing that and say to the son, to the daughter, to the wife. So that you have to work on that.
And you do, because sometimes in our fallenness, it is easier for men to be alone. I'm going to watch that game. I'll go work on that project.
I'll go to my man cave.
On my man cave or on my phone, right? And that's, women are guilty of that too. But what I say about technology is that it seems to feed that masculine genius, which I talk about in the book, is a kind of
I've never heard of masculine genius.
Nobody
like
talks
that.
about it.
It's
Feminine
about
gets all
time.
the play, right? If the feminine genius is a certain capacity to pay attention to persons, I think the masculine genius is actually an ability to zero in. It's a kind of laser focus to sometimes put emotional considerations aside and work the problem. Men can be very good at that. It can, again, both of these gifts can be easily twisted and sort of lead to some of our typical faults, maybe women gossiping too much or being obsessed with relationships where guys can check out and just be focused on their thing, or objectifying. But nonetheless, I think that our ability through our technology to kind of, you can kind of focus on that one thing. I'm researching a topic I'm interested in, I can just kind of go down my rabbit hole. It seems to feed that masculine genius, but it can actually really push it over the edge to something ugly. Whereas it also, for women, it seems to give us the capacity to keep up our relationships and keep up with our friends, and those are good and noble things. But again, we see that it takes everybody out of it. So it erodes a woman's gift of paying attention, because suddenly she's not able to attend to the needs and feelings of those right around her because she's taken out into the abstract.
Right.
Whereas the men, they're already in danger of being lost to the abstract. So our gift and our, I think, mission to kind of pull them back in. Hey, honey, notice this kid. Hey, honey, we're good at that. We sometimes become less capacitated to do that. So we both need to be present. But our feminine genius is to tell our husbands, hey, notice this kid. Come to this game. Pay attention. Just sit with us.
Right.
And that can feel hard because, again, sometimes the man feels, well, if I'm not getting something done, because they
Right.
are very sort of action-oriented, and women do have a particular gift of just being present. Sometimes we need something to do, right? Because sometimes we fall down a road of maybe gossip or just letting drama escalate. So sometimes men, as a healthy counterpoint, can say, no, you should do that, honey. You
Right.
should get involved in that project or this. And encourage a husband. I talk about it in the book, a husband encouraging a wife to participate in some creative activity of her own, because then she's going to have something that she can point to and say, oh, I did that.
Right.
I'm not just my body. I'm not
Right.
just my relationships. Sometimes that's a good counter to some of the issues that we women sometimes fall into, even though, again, both men and women are given distinct gifts. They both can sort of turn, they can turn sour if left
Right.
to turn into vice.
And I think one of the
great.
things that Jim has done for me is like you could go off in a project or need what you think is good. He can detect whether or not it's toxic, healthy, unhealthy, and say, I don't think that's good. Where I couldn't see that, and he would say, you need to get out of that.
yes. And
Pull
that-
up.
No, that is part
Yeah.
of the masculine
You know,
genius, I
it's
think.
interesting. When I think about joy, I think about people say nice things about her. I say, Joy's really kind. I said, I'm good. Joy's good and kind. But what's kindness? And somebody said, well, we've taken numerous people into our homes, to shelter them, whatever. And so, we talk about it. It's okay. Let's bring this person in, give them a place to stay, But joy brings flowers. Joy brings candy. Joy, like I didn't even.
But
think
Jim
of,
would provide the roof over their
but
head
that's-
and
but
the
that's
food on the
kindness,
table.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not like. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have to be kind as well as good. Like good's not enough.
Yes, yes. And no, and really,
And the
in-
women help to
Yes.
domesticate you in that way.
at our best, we're actually helping each other, and in some sense, tempering each other against some
Yeah.
of those vices that can make us go off the rails.
Right.
So, I really do hope that there are some practical ways that people will take from this book, because, again, if you want to improve your marriage, somebody has to start, right? And whenever you're in a relationship, I like to say it takes two to tango, but you can't force the other person. If they were just better at this, if we have to think,
You're not asking
how
us to
can I?
deny ourselves, are you?
Not right.
To some degree.
A little bit, right? A little bit, but also recognizing that if I conquer some of my selfishness, if I'm able to dig a little deeper, love him a little more, appreciate him a little more, do some of the things that I need to be doing better,
Yeah.
we all win. And I think ultimately that's what can inspire a man to receive what he does better, even if it's not perfect, because simply nagging and saying it's all wrong and I need this and that, sometimes that can lead a man to shut down. It's not an excuse, but you're very vulnerable when you're offering yourself again and again. And if he's never right and he never does anything right, why take that risk again, right?
Right.
Because his identity is very much bound up in what he does. And if we're shooting him down all the time and criticizing everything, then why take that risk anymore? So really, a husband's ability to be an excellent giver is very much bound up in his wife's trust and confidence
Right.
in him.
Yeah, well, women have phenomenal power over a man.
And
They
that's
do.
right. And when
Yeah.
we see that word obedience, everyone thinks, oh, no power. There's an incredible power, and that
Incredible.
power does lie in her ability to receive, to affirm, or to hurt him.
Yeah.
And be
So-
respectful.
Yes, when it's expressed.
So what are you going to choose to do?
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where it's your free choice. So it's not, you're not going to be. It's your volitional will to give to that which is good and beautiful and
Right,
virtuous.
which is an expression of our freedom, right? Only persons can do this.
Let's
And
pause.
if we're not free, we are enslaved. We are enslaved to our flesh, and
That's
we
the
are
alternative.
enslaved to sin. And that's an illusion that you think, oh, I'm free. I don't have to do anything. You really are enslaved, and that's just what the devil would have us to think.
So let's pause at this point. We're going to hold you over for the final segment for some final thoughts. And so we'll be right back. This book, again, The Obedience Paradox, go to EWTNRC.com. I think it's great for engaged couples, married couples, males, females, priests. So do get it, and maybe invite Mary to come to speak to your church or your fellowship. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Well, I'm going to ask Mary a question that you all want the answer for. Mary, what about those final say decisions? And is it considered a gift?
Yeah, that's probably what causes most people's hair to stand on end when we talk about this idea of obedience. Do I actually have to obey him? Like, if he tells me to do something, do I have to obey? And that just feels, it's a little scary, right? And I'm going to say the answer is yes, but bear with me for a moment, right? Final say decisions shouldn't come around every day, right? In our marriages, we are human persons. We strive for consensus. We communicate. We love one another. Husbands want to please their wives. That's why they're giving all the time, right? But in every marriage, of course, there are occasions that, it's like an impasse, right? We got to get through that. Do we take this job? Do we do it this school? Do we buy this house? Do we buy this TV? Whatever it is, right? Sometimes it comes down to, okay, well, it certainly makes sense to have someone with a final say, but why does, and again, the church in her tradition echoes, as I talk about in my book, that this final say does seem to be given to the man. And I think an argument can be made. We talked a little bit earlier about a man, the masculine genius, right? That ability to kind of set aside emotion and sort of focus on the thing in itself. I think that can be a great gift to serve the marriage. But does that mean a husband's never wrong? Certainly not. He's human, right? But I think a gift that women have, that I talk about in the book and that St. Edith Stein talks about, is because women are very relational. Okay, we have an ability, as she puts it, to subordinate a personal preference or to sort of get enthusiastic about something that we might not have been enthusiastic about otherwise for the sake of a relationship. You see moms doing this all the time, getting excited about the Legos and the boy toys when she has 5 boys and she's been planning on, making a dollhouse for her girls, and it's like, oh, I have sons now, I better get excited about this. I talk in the book, I wanted to hang out with my husband when we were dating on Sunday afternoons, but he was always watching the football game on Sunday afternoons, and I hadn't really been that into football, but if it meant getting to hang around and to bond with him, I'll do it. And I actually I'm a huge football fan now. So we do seem to have this ability to kind of get enthused, to generate interest, to really get on board for the sake of a relationship because we value those relationships so much. So I think in those moments, right, it is easier for her to sort of get on board with something, even though she says, I've said my piece, we've talked it to death, talk it to death, right? Make all your arguments. But there is a certain gift there. But there's one more thing. I talked earlier about the fact that a man tends to identify with what he does. Well, that includes his decisions. If a man says, okay, this is what we're going to do, his identity is bound up in that. And if the decision flops, if it fails, right? We took that job, it was a disaster, right? What now? He could be crushed by that, right? He could be crushed by it if he was alone in it. But because we're clinging to him, and we can make an easier distinction between who he is and what he does. We do that with our kids all the time. So you failed, so you didn't score that touchdown. So I love you. We make a distinction between the person and what they do.
Right.
Again, both are different points of emphasis. But if we can stand with him, we are going to give him the capacity to recover from a failed decision and to try again and to not be too afraid to take that authority and use it in the future, because it takes risk, right? What if I'm wrong? My husband's like, it's not fun to always have, things on me. You make this one, right? And I think about, dads of teens, sometimes mothers, we want nothing more than for the dad to get involved. Now you tell him not to do that. You say something about what she's wearing, dads don't always want to engage. It means stepping up and taking a risk. Some would rather check out, right? If we want them to have the courage to get involved, to take that risk, to engage, then we have to be supportive. And so I really think our natural gifts, if channeled properly, give us the capacity to cling to each other. It's almost like a fail-safe. It's almost like authority and obedience in those final say decisions. It's almost a preparation for failure. In case this goes wrong, because my husband is human, right? We have a way to recover from it using our special gifts.
Right.
So I really do think that, again, these things shouldn't come around every day, right? If every decision in a day is a final say decision, that's a sign that the husband is not treating her as an equal. And so there's certainly, that shouldn't look like that.
Mary, we can't thank you enough. Welcome
Excellent.
welcome to the
Thank you.
EWTN family. The Obedience Paradox is a must read and live for every person and for every couple. So thank you for this gift. EWTNRC.com for the book. Life, marriage, and family is God's plan to transform this world, and He will prevail. Bye now.